What's up, fam? Welcome to the Relationship Cheat Code, where we give you the game, helping you to stress less and experience your absolute best in your relationship. This right here is my beautiful, incredible wife.
Your tired wife.
My tired wife. This is the love of my life, y'all. This is my boo thing, my baby's mama, Iana.
What's happening, everybody? This right here is my baby, my sweetheart, my dapper, debonair partner in crime in all things. You're my partner in all things.
In all things.
All things.
Yes.
This is Ayize.
We in the house, y'all. We in the house to make it do what it do. Again, thank you for tuning in. We got a good episode here for you. We're going to be talking about today this idea of disconnect in your relationship. When you're feeling distant and disconnected in your relationship, what are some of the root causes of that? Mm-hmm. Real talk, like we work with a number of couples on a regular basis, like whether it's doing couples work, individual work, and a lot of people are expressing that they experience some degree of disconnect in their relationship. And we want to dive into that today because it's leading to some significant distance, which is leading to other things in the relationship as well. And one of those things is infidelity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that I first want to point out to those who are listening, first of all, if you resonate with it at all, just drop a comment in the chat. I want to know, what you're feeling and how that's showing up, in your relationship. And the reason I say that is because I think that a lot of people don't even recognize that they're experiencing it.
Yeah.
So it's a whole slew of folks who are like, yeah, I'm not feeling him. Like we're just, we just like what they say, two ships passing in the night, right? Yep. But then there's a whole nother group of people that we have discovered over our time doing this work who are emotionally disconnected and distant, and that has become their baseline. And it has always been their baseline on some level. Maybe in the beginning, there was a little more fire, a little more energy because of the newness of things. But in terms of like their set point, there's a couple whose set point is one where they are friends and they do talk and share vulnerably about what's going on, and they feel like they can be accepted and that their partner is going to make room for them. There's that connection. But then there's the couple who care for one another, love one another, but they don't necessarily share their feelings, their innermost thoughts and feelings. And they're not necessarily willing to risk sharing when they're not satisfied with some things or that they're really tired of certain things. They have a go along to get along spirit. Yeah. And that has been oftentimes learned. That's learned behavior. And that kind of behavior, if one partner has that, and especially if two people has it, keeps people in a place of emotional disconnect. But if that was what you learned, and if that is your set point, if that's your baseline, you don't even know, oh, there's more. There's more to this relationship that I can have. Like you might feel like something is off, or you see the movies or some people in your life, and you're like, wow, they seem really like they got a...
You watching Instagram, you watching some of our videos, like, you vibing with us. And you start to feel bad, and you start to question yourself, like, what's wrong with me? Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
And
but they don't even know, because it's just been the norm.
It's the norm.
So I just wanted to establish that, because I want folks to know, as we get into talking about this distance and disconnect, one of the things that we focus on in our work is removing judgment and removing shame, so that we can clearly see. Judgment and shame clouds your perspective. It doesn't allow you to sit in a place of real balanced understanding about what's going on, so that you can move differently. If you're dealing with shame and stuff, that motivates other things. You're trying to protect yourself, defend against stuff. And, if we are in a place where that's been our set point or our baseline, or, our parents didn't show a lot of emotional affection, and we didn't talk about our feelings. And so we don't even know like how to do all of that, especially not for no extended period of time. Yeah. There is no reason for you to get down on yourself. You might be sad about it, but when you're grown, you get to make a different decision. You get to make different choices, and not stay in that place. So be inspired and be motivated to do something different, and to not just get in a funky place of feeling bad about it.
Yeah, one of the root causes of emotional disconnect and distance is emotional neglect, and as you mentioned, our formative years have a significant impact on how we show up in our relationships as adults. And many of you all are walking or existing in your relationship and you feel invisible. And so you're dealing with emotional neglect from the stance of you feel unseen. Like, but a part of you feeling unseen and even accepting being unseen, or accepting feeling unseen is based off of what you experienced in your formative years. Right. And so, that's a challenging place to be in, to exist in a relationship, whether it's intimate partner, parent, child, whomever it may be, and feel invisible.
Yeah.
Don't feel acknowledged. You
unseen,
feel, unseen, unheard. Yeah.
Unsupported.
Yes. And so when you find yourself in a space like that in your relationship, then it's very easy for you to feel distant and disconnected, because it almost feels like you don't matter. I'm not here.
Right.
And so you can actually feel this way even if you are making love, even if you are having conversations,
Absolutely.
even if you are doing the functional things in a relationship, the routine rigmarole that you do every day, you can still feel unseen, unheard, and unsupported, because what we're talking about is intimacy, like getting to the deeper level of the person and seeing inside of them. Intimacy has been broken down as to into me you see.
Yeah.
And so do you see the inside of a person? And a lot of that is not happening, which is leading to distance and disconnect, which resembles like emotional neglect in the relationship. And so, that right there can crop up and pose challenges. And, when that's happening, you start to search for it elsewhere.
Yeah.
You start to desire, you have a craving to be noticed, to be seen, and to be heard.
But you know what? And one of the things I think that makes it difficult for, I'm going to say modern day couples. I don't know why I'm laughing at myself, but anyway.
Yeah, why are you laughing?
So I'm like modern day. I mean, I just feel like that's like some old people say. These modern day couples, since we because these modern young people today, that's what old people say.
So you saying you old? That's what you're saying?
I must be getting a little up there, because I have used that term
modern
a
day
little
couples.
more than I would have liked to admitted. But anyway, but modern day couples, and what I'm really talking about, I'm a modern day couple, okay? What I'm talking about is, in this day and age, with our busy lifestyles, with all the stuff that we have going on, I don't think people really, what's the word? They don't really understand how much of an impact letting the busyness of life take over, how much of an impact that can really have on your relationship. There are people who are working 16-hour days, moving from 1 week to the next, to the next, to the next, and there's no break. There's no space and time where, nothing is punctuated. It's just, it's just ongoing work and busyness. Having to do stuff in the community and having to run kids over here, and all these responsibilities that just don't leave any time for nurturing a relationship. And a lot of times what you'll hear people say who sit in seats like ours, and we have said it as well, is you need to prioritize the quality time, the time that you all spend with one another. You need to prioritize it. That is true. But there does come a point in time where some people can look at their schedules. And when they look at their schedule, they realize, I'm trying to prioritize this joint, but it literally is no damn room on here. Like literally, like I got to get up and I got to do this in the morning, and then we got to go to work, and then we get home. I'm responsible for this in the evening, or I got a part-time business, or we got a special needs kid. There's all kinds of things, real life things that people are dealing with that take up a lot of time and energy. So even if I'm in the house, I ain't got no energy.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting on this couch or in my bed for this hour I ain't got nothing to do. And I still got something to do, but that's all I get to myself. So it's hard for me to think about what I can give to you. That's a very real thing. And what I want to say to people, and my husband ain't gonna like that I'm about to date this podcast.
So why you gotta do it? Can't you say something?
Because I just get on my nerves.
But you being resistant. You being resistant. You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't you just comply? Why don't you submit and surrender? You know what I'm saying? Like, that was unnecessary.
No, I haven't even said what I'm saying. So
what I'm saying is, you could have said we're talking about new beginnings. We're talking about doing something fresh.
It's relevant right
when
now
you're starting
because we're
something
in
new.
a new beginning.
What you want to say?
This is a new year.
Man, what you want to say?
You're like, I'm gonna say it, but don't say it. But y'all, it's a new year. It's a new year, and because it is a new year, you really need to like take stock of being on the hamster wheel of life. Hamster wheels are not just for people caught in what do they call it? The what is it? The rat race. The hell you looking at me like that?
I'm just saying, like, I don't understand why. I mean, I'm searching for why you had to say a new year. You could have said something. We're on the precipice of change. Like when you're feeling the itch and the urge and you're feeling stuck and you want to do something new.
The reason, sir, Mr. Maas, that we are on the edge of change and the relevance is because it is a new year. We get a new 365 days given to us. It's a new opportunity. It is the time for reflection and reevaluation and renegotiation of how you live your life. She said that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why. I'm not going to just leave that out. Stop talking about that. That's just you're so petty. You're so pressed. Anyway, y'all, I just need y'all to understand that you got to take some things away. So people look at their lives and they recognize like, this is like, this Joan is hard. And then you really try. I want to give a shout out to all the people who try. Who are like, you know what, I'm going to put that date night on the calendar, or I'm going to make sure that I, put a little reminder to myself to stop and pick up my wife something from the store, whatever. But it's hard to maintain because that schedule, be scheduling you to death. It's hard to maintain. So you are not doing yourself any kind of service. In fact, you're doing yourself and your relationship a disservice to try to keep handling it all. You got to make the hard decisions. And, I will say, I'm just going to bring this forward. At times, and I would say, we just have one 8-year-old now who is obviously in school, and we have a senior in high school, and everybody else is college age and above. Wow. That I just said that.
Yeah.
But especially when all of our children were in school, we have 5, it was very common. When you have multiple kids, you have whatever the issue is that parents have, you have multiples of it. You know what I'm saying? So, last minute things popping up in terms of programs at school and kids getting sick or, things they need help with or doctor's appointments or, whatever it is. And I remember these kinds of things will pop up all the time. It's not always perfectly planned and you know about it in advance, right? And my husband and I would be living our lives. We were working our 9-to-5s, going back and forth. We had our business that we were doing part-time for several years when our kids were younger. And we would have these moments, I don't know if you recall, where, somebody had a recital, somebody had a pop-up such and such, and it was a conflict. Like, why these damn schools be letting you know stuff like, on a Friday, talking about Tuesday, we invite you to come to, like, what? Right?
Or why did our kids let us know?
Yeah.
So,
but a lot of times it was the schools too, when they were real little. But yeah, when they got a little older, right, it was them. But my husband and I would have these conversations. And, if I can pop my collar just a little.
Your collar?
My collar.
Okay.
You should already know. I might be a little stressed for it. All of 2 minutes. Like, God dang it. Like, I got this meeting at work, or we supposed to be doing this. And he says, like, and 99% of the time, it's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to have a conversation with my boss and say, I can't do it. We just going to have to, reschedule with this person. Oh my gosh, my husband can't stand to reschedule something, especially if it's a client. I know. Yeah. And they scheduled it, but you have to have your priorities in order. So I say that to say that we have 5 children. We have a lot going on, but our priorities are clear. Family comes first, relationship comes first. God comes before all of that. Right? So if that's the case, then are you living out your priorities? You got to make room. You got to make room. And sometimes that means, I got to cancel that part-time job. We ain't going to get no time to go nowhere. But if I cancel the part-time job, then we ain't going to have that extra money. Well, you going to do it for the next 3 months. And then we going to knock out a couple things. And then we just going to be tight. Like, why are couples, I'm sorry, I'm on a low roll now with this.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. So many of y'all are not willing to have conversations. I was talking to a friend of mine not that long ago, and she was laid off from her job, and she's just in a very stressful place in her life right now. And, you know, she made good money. Her husband makes good money. And I said, is it possible? Can I just ask, is it possible for y'all to like just hold tight and get tight for a second, right? So you can just take a minute to breathe, because she has a lot going on in her life beyond the job. And she's like, no, like it's not even something that she think they can even talk about. He not even gonna be for that. Like he's like, all right, you looking? So I know a lot of people resonate with that, but I want to challenge folks to just stopping short of having the hard, difficult conversations. Hard, difficult conversations also create emotional distance and disconnect, because I can't be my full self with you. I can't tell you how I'm really feeling, and I won't risk it. I won't do it because I don't know what you're going to say, or I think I know what you're going to say, and I don't want to go there with you because I don't want to feel rejected or feel like, you don't get me. But you have to risk that. I have conversations with my husband where he does not understand what I'm talking about or where I'm coming from. He shares stuff with me, and I'm not like all like, oh my goodness, yes. I'm just like, I'm trying to understand. It's not going to always roll like that, but you got to take the risk to be in a real relationship, so that that you're constantly growing your connection. Connection is not just grown by blissful, wonderful, sweet things.
Yeah.
Connection is grown by friction. Connection is grown by having the hard conversations and then looking at each other the next week or the next couple of days and recognizing that we got through that. Love you, boo. Love you too. But so many people have this emotional distance and disconnect because you're not willing to go into the funky place. You think that you're keeping yourselves from going into a bad place and getting too bad. No, you need to get into it.
Yeah.
Get into the friction so that you can actually have the connection that you really desire.
Yeah, I was about to say that too, because when you first started that piece, it kind of sounded like you were saying that hard conversations are the reason for the disconnect. But toward the latter part, you lifted up that it's the unwillingness to engage, which leads you to a place where you block intimacy. And one other piece in reference to the hard conversations, it may be very challenging and it leads to some level of conflict in a relationship. But as my wife said, like the unwillingness to get into it, like people are sweeping stuff up under the rug. And as a result of that, it's building up resentment. It's building up resentment, and hurt is stacking upon hurt. And so it's important that you do engage in those conversations, because when you don't, then the divide just increases. There's an expand. There's a wedge that just keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so instead of sweeping it up under the rug, it's not disappearing, fam. It's still there. You just got a whole bunch of dirt, stuff, mess, chaos, shit that's up under the rug. And until you pull back that rug, have those uncomfortable conversations, which require vulnerability and a willingness to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, and to also see, hear, and understood, and and understand, then you won't get to a place of deeper connection. You'll just be exacerbating the disconnect that may already be there. So you got to lean in, fam. You really do.
So a couple of things I just want to lift up. There are two things that I think are really dangerous for a marriage in general, and specifically as it relates to this emotional distance. And if you have the distance going on and you have these other two things over a period of time, especially over an extended period of time, it's a danger zone. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Here go your alarm. All right. So we've already said emotional distance, right, is an issue. We've talked about some of the causes for that and what happens with that dynamic. But my husband talked about resentment. And one of the things that we have talked about over time is a more formal term for stacked up resentment, which is called negative sentiment override. So this negative sentiment override is the stack up of resentment. It is the ruminating that happens when folks are by themselves for the 75th time, sitting at the family function by themselves, and you're not there. You know what I'm saying? It's the stuff festering inside of your relationship, and the repeated cycles that are happening in someone's mind over and over again.
It's the daily eating dinner alone.
Yes.
It's stuff like that. It's
you're forgetting certain things.
Yeah, it stacks up. It does.
Coming in the house and not greeting your partner, and then after a while you say, "Well, I'm not greeting him either." You know what I'm saying? Y'all just kind of do what y'all do, and so all of that stuff leads to the silent relationship killer. Which is resentment and negative sentiment override. And what we're specifically saying when we talk about negative sentiments override is the negative sentiments you have override the very good and real wonderful things you still got going. You can't even see them anymore. They are totally blotting that out because you are completely focused on the level of dissatisfaction, the level of disconnect, and you can't even feel it. You can't even see it. That's a dangerous place to be in conjunction with longing. With longing. When a person gets to a place where they are thirsty, where they are longing to be touched, longing to be validated, longing for attention, longing for appreciation. Oh, it makes them so vulnerable. It makes them so vulnerable to so many things, to outside attention, to not giving a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Just like that longing and that negative sentiment override, and I can't feel you. The emotional distance is distancing on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
You know, people just kind of like, it is what it is. And so now there's not the ability to feel like, what is the point of this anyway? Is it really worth it? Like, I'm a human being. People are human beings. And we all need to eat food. We need to be able to get some water. We need sunlight.
Yeah.
And we also need emotional connection. Emotional connection and attachment is just as important as all of those things. Do you know that failure to thrive in little babies, people have given the babies over time, talking about research, they've been able to see that children, little infants, have been given food, given water, given milk. They still not thriving. They still not picking up their weight. They still not coming along. So then they said, "Oh, we got to get these nurses in here. They got to sit down and put the rocking chair in there. Put the baby right here. Now do all of those things and rub on them and sing to them and let them feel your heartbeat. Look it up." And they started to thrive. It is essential. It is non-negotiable. It is more than important. So all of these things are super important, but I don't want you to underestimate the role that emotional distance can create in making you or your partner vulnerable to infidelity. Infidelity is a symptom. It is not the root cause. It is not the thing. It is a symptom of some things going on in your relationship. And that's why we are focusing in on that in a very, very, very significant and high level way. And I'm really excited about what God will do and what he will continue to do. We've worked with couples for some time, and we're really just doubling down on focusing on infidelity. So if this is coming down your lane, if you're experiencing these things and you're already in the trenches of infidelity along with these things, we encourage you to not give up hope. And to not sit still and just act like ain't nothing going on. Right? To not just be satisfied with the funkiness and to not be overwhelmed by the fact that you're like, wait a minute, something different need to happen. And your partner's like, what are you talking about? I said, sorry, it's over. You know,
that's real.
And to move. And one of the things that you can do is check out the link in the description, and you can get more information by getting on the wait list for our Breakthrough Infidelity Recovery Program. And that's a great starting point to be able to really not just break through, but break free from emotional distance, from all of the things, unresolved issues, and really have a completely different, much better relationship than you had before.
That's an important piece to lift up too, because when you say break through and break free, some of y'all have been in bondage for years. because you've been dealing with the emotional disconnect and the distance that has come about as a result of, what you've been going through. And so, you dealt with the emotional disconnect and distance, which may have led to somebody making a decision. Let's be clear now. It's not the emotional disconnect and distance in and of itself, but somebody makes a decision to step out in their relationship. And so that decision is made, which then further exacerbates the issue of emotional distance and disconnect. Right. And then it goes unaddressed.
Right.
So it compounds because you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel understood, you don't feel supported while you're dealing with intrusive thoughts and triggers, while you're dealing with shame and blame and guilt. You're dealing with all of these things, and you're not really getting to the root of what needs to be done. And so that's why it's important to extend yourself to get the support that you need, because fundamentally under all of it, as my wife said, we're wired for attachment. And you didn't enter into the relationship to mess it up. You didn't enter into the relationship to jack it up, even though you may have a blueprint in your formative years that says that this is the best way the relationships work from a unhealthy place and an unhealthy dynamic. We're here to show and be a witness that there's a different way.
Absolutely.
There's a better way. You can have a healthy, whole, and healed relationship, but you got to be willing to put in the work. And what that requires is that you get in proximity of people who have done it, who have experienced it, and who are willing to guide you by providing you with a path and a process to get to your healing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that.
You did, babe?
I did.
Can I feel you?
You can.
Later on?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I had to switch it up real quick. Right?
You always gonna try to come for me. Everybody, thank you for listening. We hope that this has been of help to you in some way. Drop your thoughts, drop your comments, subscribe, get on the wait list for the Breakthrough Program if that resonates with you. And more than anything, stop playing, start pushing, keep moving. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.